the creative industry. Today I'm going to be joined by two fantastic guests. The wonderful Sharon from Bilborough Sixth Form College in Nottingham and the equal wonderful Jenna who works for the National Theatre. This is your Monday morning breakfast show. Tune in and talk it out.
Live from London, this is The Breakfast Show with James Clark on Teachers Talk Radio. Tune in live on the Podbean app or desktop player. Just head over to www.podbean.com/LSW/TT Radio or search Teachers Talk Radio. Follow the hashtag TT Radio.
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing on this wonderful Monday morning? I hope we are all ready and raring to go for the start of the week and for the Monday morning breakfast show. With me, James Clark. It's very exciting. Now, if you are tuning in thinking, where is Mal? Don't panic. I'm only taking over 2 weeks. We've had a swap. So Mal will be on my Wednesday morning breakfast show. Well, I'm here on the Monday. Basically like cover teachers. And we've got a really exciting lineup for you today, where we're going to be talking all about careers and the creative industry, and what we can do really as teachers and as educators, and also how our education impacts our later choices. I always wish I had a time machine for lots of things, but I wish I had a time machine so that I could sometimes go back and tell myself, what you're doing is going to really matter, or give yourself a bit of reassurance. Go back to a 12-year-old me, as well as probably use it to go back to a time before lockdown. But there we go. I'm sure we'd all do that if we could. Welcome everybody to the Monday morning breakfast show with me, James Clark, and I'm very, very excited to be here. It feels like it's been so long. I mean, it's only been a week. I took a week off, and the reason I took a week off because I know everybody, I'm sure, around the world was worried, unable to sleep at night, all of those things. I highly doubt it, but I'm going to pretend. I spent a lovely week on a barge, but it's not a barge actually. I get told off. It's a canal boat. I keep wanting to call it a barge, but apparently it's a bit too long to be a barge. I don't know. But anyway, we were on a canal boat down the canal, which I guess is where you would expect to find a canal boat, but there we go. Taking 10 year sevens on a overnight residential, and it was really great to be able to get back and do that, and get back and almost feel a bit like normality again. And it's a fantastic trip, and I love doing it with the kids, because not only for some of them is it the first time that they've ever been on a canal or on a boat, but for lots of them as well, it's the first time, particularly given the last year and a half, that so many of them have ever been away from home, which is something really special when you get to have that experience with young people, taking them away for the first time. And that was really, really great. But also I'm away again, doing it again this week with 10 year 8. So hence why I'm not in my usual Wednesday slot, but I am glad to be here for the Monday slot. And it did mean that last week I didn't get to finish my Creatives in the Curriculum month-long program. So we've had a little bit of gap, but we are back with the final. We can pretend we're still in June. No one will know, I promise. We're going to come back to our final show on the Creatives in the Curriculum month-long special that we've been doing. And what we're going to be looking at today is the careers, and how we can both embed careers and celebrate it, but also the impact it has, and how we can talk about creatives in the careers industry. Careers in the creative industry. Other way around. Yes, there we go. It's an early start, isn't it? What we can do, and I think it's really important that we do talk about this, because I think actually when we talk about careers to young people, it can sometimes come across very black and white, in the sense that, you know, they look at performing or anything in the creative industry and they'll go, oh, I want to be an actor or I want to be a performer. And that's really, really great. And we should absolutely be encouraging that. But actually, what else is there is also, I think, equally as important to encourage. So finding out about what other career paths they can do and also how we get into those career paths. I know lots of people who you speak to now and they say, well, how did you end up doing the job you did? And actually they go, well, I ended up doing this and I changed to this and I changed to this and now I'm doing this. And so I think that's really interesting that we do talk about that with young people as well. But before we go on to that and before we start looking at that, let's have your Monday morning news for you. Here you go.
This is Teachers Talk Radio, and this is Teachers Talk Radio News with Megan Goods.
This is your latest Teachers Talk Radio News. School skiing trips are set to be the latest casualty of the fallout from Brexit. The ski industry had previously warned of the loss of 25,000 jobs if British staff were unable to be hired post-Brexit. The issues for school ski trips arise from the number of British staff normally hired to run the trips and the increasing cost of hiring such staff with the introduction of the visa system. Robert McIntosh, Managing Director of Interski, calculated it would cost him £300 for each of his 600 British staff members to continue to run the number of ski trips he had done previously. You don't have to be an economist, he stated, to know that is not going to be viable. MP Ben Bradshaw has accused Gavin Williamson of using his latest campaign to ban mobile phones in schools as a distraction. Bradshaw called it a clumsy attempt by the worst education secretary ever to distract attention from the chaos engulfing our schools because of the COVID rules and his failure to come up with a proper catch-up plan for pupils. Jeff Barton, General Secretary of the Association of School and College Leaders, also accused the Education Secretary of being obsessed with mobile phones in schools, when in reality, every school will already have a robust policy on the use of mobile phones. It isn't some sort of digital free-for-all. This all follows Williamson's call last week for a ban on mobile phones to create a calmer environment in schools to help children recover from the pandemic. A government memo leaked from Michael Gove's office has laid out 5 proposals for how schools will work moving forward through the pandemic. The plan contained a proposal to end the bubble system of isolation on the 19th of July, and to replace self-isolation for close contacts with daily testing instead. The twice-weekly lateral flow testing would also be reviewed in September, with the potential to be scrapped the following month. Only children who had tested positive for the coronavirus would be isolating by September, and there would be a push to make sure all teachers were vaccinated. However, a spokesperson for the government said no final decisions have been made on the leaked proposals. That was your latest Teachers Talk Radio News.
Do you know what? How many leaks are there? There's always a leak going on. We need to sort something out. There we go. That was your Monday morning news for you on Teachers Talk Radio. And it's really great to see so many of you already tuning in and joining us live for our conversation. So make sure you get involved, and you can get involved by letting us know on the Podbean app. You can have a comment. You can share the show. Why not? Or you can send in your love as well. You can do so much. And remember, you can get involved on Twitter as well at TT Radio 2021. Or use the hashtag TT Radio. And I'm absolutely loving the GIFs that are made by the Deputy Lesser Copy at Lesser Copy. He's also our host on Teacher Talk Radio, who just tweeted out this much needed this week, my Wednesday morning audio coffee at Jam Clark on a Monday morning. Absolutely. And I just love, do you know what? I get really excited when I see myself as a gift. I'm like, oh my goodness, I've made it. I've made it in life. I want a GIF. So there we go. A lovely GIF that I've just retweeted from, thank you very much, Deputy Lesser Copy, of me, my name on a coffee cup, which is absolutely fantastic. And very aptly put with all the Pride colours as well. So I really do appreciate that. Thank you very much. Very excited to be starting off very soon with my guests. First of all, with Sharon. And we are going to be talking about careers in the creative industry and the route into education and how, you know, oh my goodness, I really can't talk this morning. This is awful. There we go. Why we get into the route that we do. But what about you? You know, has anybody here listening got an experience in the creative industry or wants to talk about actually what their careers education was like genuinely, not just about creative topics, but genuinely, what was your careers education like? And I think it's such an important topic. And I think the last couple of weeks, probably last half a month, I know how much all the listeners enjoy learning about my life, so I'll give you a little bit about my life again. So the last sort of couple of months or so, particularly in the last few weeks, more so, we've been doing a lot of review into curriculums, as I'm sure everybody's been doing. I've been fortunate to have a bit of game time with year 11's gone and year 13's gone. So it all sort of starts now looking towards next year in September and what we can do. And one of the roles that I have at school and the job that I really love is taking on the head of PSHE. And we've been looking a lot at that. And lots of the things we do, I had a conversation with my deputy teacher and we were talking about the fact that we shouldn't do something for Ofsted. So we shouldn't say, oh, we're going to do this because Ofsted want us to do it. However, we should always be mindful of what they're looking for, if that makes any sense whatsoever. And I think that's really important to be mindful of what it is they want to be looking for, but we're not doing it for that reason. We're doing it for the reason that it's the best for our students, but it's always good to be mindful of what that is. And we know as part of Ofsted, I promise there's a reason to the story. We know as part of this that careers is a massive part of the framework that they are looking at and what we do as a school. So I think it's a really important topic to explore. So we're going to be speaking very soon to Sharon, who I know is live already. So I'm just going to ask if Sharon wants to call in and join us. And we'll start our session today with our first guest, lovely Sharon, who has done so much. And just before she joins, I've got to make her probably sound very embarrassed, and she's probably sitting there cringing at the moment. I know she's calling in, but I've just got to say, you know, Sharon, you've done so much. So Sharon, known as Drama Shaz, which I think is just a fantastic Twitter name, is an actor, a director, a corporate trainer, a voice coach. Oh, and just to shove it in, also a teacher. And she believes in doing her best to support working class kids to get into the industry. Now, what's fantastic about Sharon is she's also head of faculty for creative and performing arts as well at her school. Just, you know, one or two things, as we all are. So before I join Sharon here, should we have another little bit of a boogie and get ourselves up and ready for the morning as Sharon joins us live in the studio? Good morning, Sharon.
Good morning, James.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, awake?
Yes. Did you find your headphones?
No. What I think the problem is I've got my new phone and I can't find the headphones that go with them. So I can't fit. You know, they all have different things that you poke into little holes, don't they? And it's just, I am a bit of a an idiot when it comes to, I'm classic dyspraxic. That anything technical sends me a little bit weird, but
you've made it.
I've made it. I'm here.
That's it. And how are you this morning? Apart from feeling a little bit tired.
I'm not tired, actually. I'm wide awake. I was awake at 5 o'clock, and looking forward to getting ready for next year, and kicked the cats out of the room so they won't be howling. I've got 2 howly Bengals.
Oh, fantastic. And I mean, well, it is Monday morning, so always start with this question. Dream breakfast, what would it be?
For me, it would be smoked salmon and scrambled eggs.
Oh, classy. Very nice. Is
Yeah.
Is that something you'd have often, or is it a bit of a treat?
No. It tends to be sort of a weekendy thing. It's something that I didn't discover until I was quite grown up, because, I'm a classic little working class girl who, got a porridge in the morning, Scottish dad, porridge every morning. And as a grown up, I sort of started to discover these really sort of lovely things. And so it's my go-to thing, really.
Oh, fantastic. And I mean, last month, and obviously today, we're talking all about, the arts and the creative industry. So, why do you think the arts matter in school? Because there'll be some people that, sit on the fence of it or aren't too sure, or might say, actually, we should spend more time on the core subject, particularly given what's happened over the last year and a half and the time and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, why do the arts matter?
Well, they matter because what we want to do is help people to be well-rounded and not only educated in core academic subjects, which I believe actually drama is one of those, but also to be more culturally well-rounded. As human beings, we've got to live in the world together. So it's, and culture underpins everything that we do. We watch television, and understanding how, and also about how you work as a team. If there's any subject that helps young people to learn how to develop a cohesive group, manage projects, think outside of the box, give their own opinions in an interesting way, it's going to be the arts, isn't it? So it's massively important to start them as young as possible and carry on that through their whole education, giving them some access to arts education.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I gave you a little bit of an introduction earlier, but I mean, you do so much in terms of being involved in the creative industry. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your route into where you are now, essentially your life story in brief. Over to you. That's it.
Well, I started off going down the acting route. It was something like lots of little girls, particularly once I understood what theatre was. I didn't go to the theatre till I was the first thing I ever saw was Handel's Messiah. Believe it or not, at a theatre live. I was in a little junior school on a council estate in Bessel Park in Nottingham, and I was really interested in jumping around and doing really strange things, and I read a lot, and a teacher took us to see the Messiah, and it made me cry. And so I started acting from quite young, and got into little drama groups and did all sorts of things, and started off, I did the course at Clarendon with the wonderful John Wills, the same course that Robert Lindsay did, actually. He was a little bit earlier than me. And we did this foundation diploma in acting, and they started helping us to do voice lessons. So I did all my Lambda stuff and went right up to licentiate by the time I was in my early 20s. And so carried on acting and directing. I don't do that now. I do directing, obviously, in my job, but I don't do it as much because my job is a little bit all-consuming. But have done all sorts of bits and bobs. So did that, then got married very young. Got married at 19, and went to and became a civil servant. And then I did a BTEC in business, and that was also useful because I used all of my communication and artistic skills in that, and my voice training. So I did the civil service for a bit, and then went into retail management. And they love us creatives in retail management. Absolutely love us. I mean, I worked for Marks and Spencer's for years and became one of their trainers. I used to go all over the country, helping to open up new stores. I worked a lot with female returners and people lacking confidence. Did voice stuff with them. So. And I still do a bit of that in my job for inset and things, working with teachers, helping them to. I was really useful when we started doing the masks because I could talk about breathing.
Yeah.
and talk about confidence. I use a lot of Amy Cuddy's stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you know, about particularly with women and girls,
Yeah.
helping them to take up their own space and prepare themselves to walk into a room with confidence, not, you know, cockiness, but with confidence.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I use all of it. It all comes in handy. And then teaching, I sort of fell into, believe it or not. I realised I'd hit the glass ceiling when I was working at Marks and Spencer's, when I worked on a project with people at head office. And they were being paid what was like millions to put this project together, but they wanted me in as a specialist because it was about selling. And I went in and I didn't get paid anything. And I got a bit of lip, which was, well, you know, you don't have a degree, because at that point I didn't have a degree. I'd had 2 children, and I just went, I almost sort of just grabbed my youngest under my arm and walked into a college and said, I need to get a degree because I love this corporate training lark. And as a sort of drama and English specialist, I went and did my degree and thought I was going to go back into corporate training, but reignited my love and passion for performing and the arts, because I specialised in drama. And so I was also very luckily headhunted for teaching because I was older and had got management experience. There was a course, which was the postgraduate course in continuing education. And they said, well, that will also help with your training. So they gave it me for free. So I didn't have to pay, which was very lucky, and a bursary. They gave me £8,000, which helped to pay for my childcare. And I did a placement at an inner city college, met some crazy teenagers and just fell in love with them. And that's history, really. So now I do a bit of all of those things. You know, I still do a bit of training if anybody wants any, you know, specialisms in the stuff I do. And mostly, you know, I teach drama, but manage English. I do manage English lit and all of those areas, and music and dance. So yeah, it's how you, sometimes life is about serendipity. It's about not being afraid that change will happen and going with the flow. And that's very much my philosophy on life. You know,
I mean, you've definitely, you know, had a few bits of change in your life as you've gone through, but I mean, what an amazing life you've had. And I bet you've met so many amazing people, and you've had to use so many of your different skills in different places. But I think it's quite interesting, like you say, that actually, you know, even when you're doing something from business to marketing to, you know, being a teacher to something more creative, actually, there are some similarities there as well in the skills that you're using or that you need.
A lot of similarities. Absolutely. You know, those, when we talk about this, you know, fashionable thing of employability skills, I think, you know, if your life is fairly eclectic and you do dip into lots of different things, whenever you go for a job, you've already got a lot of those skills. And I coach the students to think about that while I'm working with them. You know, I talk about that idea. You're managing a project. Who is your target audience? How are you making the work, and how are you going to get the audience in there? So they're all, even with a college production, I make them manage it. I don't do the old-fashioned teacher directing thing. I employ a director and a choreographer. I have a front of house team. I have a production manager who is accountable budget-wise to me, and they literally learn how to run a production in a professional way and make money.
And I bet they absolutely loved that as well. Like, I know whenever we've done enterprise type challenges or anything like that, obviously slightly on a smaller scale there, but you know, the kids absolutely love it. Just having that control and being that, actually, do you know what? You know, I am responsible for this.
They do. I think we underestimate young people, and I always say that to them as well. When my year 12s left me last week, I talked about how we'd coped during the pandemic, because they became so resilient. Even in the last week, they were doing a mini device project, and they had to reconfigure because there were people isolating.
Yeah.
And just kept that we can do this attitude. We're performing artists. The show must go on. We can't let something like a pandemic stop us doing what we need to do. And, you know, so I do think they rise to that. I think it's about empowering them to believe that they can do things That's the most important part of our job.
Absolutely. And I mean, you've given some examples there already, but, in your sort of everyday lessons, how do you approach the sort of careers in a creative way? Or, how do you get them thinking about their next steps? Or is it kind of more set lessons? You go, this is our careers lesson or whatever it might be? Or, how do you embed it in everything that you do?
Mixture of both. I relate everything we do to the real world. Because I've been in the real world. So most of the things I will say, how about you use that in a job, or that's brilliant, that's going to make you really employable. But so it's embedded all the way through. But I do have like a package. I've got lots of sort of drama schools and industry professionals that come in and talk to us, former students who are now working in the industry. I do one-to-ones with all of the kids about what their ambitions are, and I talk all the time about that. What's your ideal goal? And probably like 7-year-old me, they will say, I want to be an actress. And we go, yeah, well, let's aim for that. We can go in that career direction, but also be aware that this is a vast industry that you can do lots of jobs in, so you can work in it. You may end up a marketing manager. You could end up being a participation manager. You could end up being a teacher. But there's no fear to be had about going. I'm very much Dan Gilbert's right-hand woman. The professor of happiness.
Yeah.
Follow your heart. Follow what you want to do and work hard at it. And there are jobs. So I really try and take away that fear, because so many kids are told, oh, don't be ridiculous, there's no jobs.
Yeah.
Yes, there are jobs. No, we're not all going to be Judi Dench.
Yeah, I'm still trying.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't mind giving it another go, because I'm getting to that age where I can now play character parts.
Yeah.
I was very much the ingenue when I was younger, and now I can play an old bag, which would be really lovely. Give us a chance. But, it is about that, isn't it? It's about saying, follow your heart, try and earn a living at it. Look at where the jobs are. You may get a break and you may end up being, the top getting an Oscar, but you also will earn a living, and it's no different to anything else. Everybody at the moment is following the sort of psychology, law, criminology route. That also may not lead to exactly where you think you were going. Yeah. And unless you've got that flexibility and all of those other skills which drama give you, I'm amazed that people go into law and they've done no drama.
Yeah.
They're quiet, and you look at the quiet classrooms and you think, oh wow, this should be hopping. And so, and lots of my students do. I've just got one young man's just qualified as a barrister who did drama with me. So they do go into these other careers. I've had medics where they've gone for medical interviews, and people have said to them, tell us about what drama might help you to bring to becoming a doctor. They love it. It opens doors.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that it's so true what you're saying there. It's just fascinating listening to all those sort of examples. And I think, all of those are so true. And I think, interestingly, looking at creative industry, I think so many people do say, right, I want to be an actor. And I think obviously, thinking about the primary school, that's exactly what I was saying, and all those things. But, what are, if you could think of some jobs that you've seen people go into the creative industry, what other jobs are there? Because there'll be lots of people listening that go, actually, I didn't know what other creative jobs there are out there. I just thought there was kind of, you're a performer, or you might do a bit of backstage, and that's kind of it. So people's knowledge might not be as well-rounded as those of us who are in those sort of creative industry and backgrounds. So what kind of jobs are there out there for young people or people going into the creative industries?
Well, we start off with those that happen in the theatre, which, are being the general managers of theatres. The executive officer of theatre, Stephanie Sir, who is the executive of Nottingham Playhouse, did a drama degree. She's now got a very well-paid job. Thank you very much. And, and it's a lot of, uses her business skills as well as her creative skills. There's marketing. There are things like the technical theatre side. Now, goodness me, if you can get into technical theatre, you will work and you will travel. So lighting, design, costume. So those are the basic things in the theatre. But, as a bolt onto that, casting directors, agencies. There are things like, I'd love to have a go at being a locations manager.
Yeah.
What a gorgeous thing to do, traveling around looking for places to film. You know, you can branch out into the film. Presenting on television and on radio are some are careers that people go into after drama. Most of our local radio presenters in Nottingham have done drama at Hillborough at some point. So there are, you know, this is an open door. You open up a door and you just then test the water and you find what you really love. It's a much nicer pathway than a poor anxious child at the age of about 10 being told that and it happens mostly in inner city schools, you need to go and do something like law to start making your life perfect. And these kids are then, you know, little square pegs in round holes trying to force themselves down a career path that doesn't exist any more than a creative arts career path. It's the same thing. You've got to open the doors.
Absolutely. I mean, we've had a question come in live there. So thank you, Megan. So the question is, do you think the pandemic is going to scare people away from careers in the arts? And I think that, you know, when I was talking about this show earlier and talk to others about it, in every show we've looked at, you know, we talk about the image that came out of the, you know, the government saying essentially you need to rethink and retrain with the ballerina. And I think that links to this question about actually, do you think, you know, this is all great, this is all thinking actually there is so much out there, but with the pandemic and the situation we found ourselves in, do you think people are going to be scared from taking a career in the arts?
I think we've scared them already. I think the pandemic's just scared them a little bit more. But the industries are going to bounce back. I mean, you know, everybody's been watching more television. People, you know, actors and everybody's learned how to do stuff over Zoom. We are, you know, doing stuff still, and the industry isn't fully open yet. But when it will, people are going to run back to it. So absolutely nothing to be scared about. And as I've said before, you know, the pathways are very different. You know, why be scared of the creative industries? I'm sure there are plenty of other industries that have been massively impacted. Look at retail. Retail's having a bit of a tough time. And that's normally been quite a sensible option, hasn't it? Go and train as a manager at John Lewis. You know, there's no easier than saying I'm going down the arts pathway, and also it's going to need fresh, innovative people to give everything a bit of a shake-up as we move forward, I think.
Absolutely.
It's really exciting. It's got to change a bit.
I think that's so true, because I think, you know, we have seen so many new things coming out of lockdown creatively, and people have had time to work and think about things. I mean, I always think about the fact that, you know, there was within the turnaround of sometimes 2 months, you know, BBC and other places had created shows which were entirely filmed through Zoom, but they were still a TV show and all sorts, and they were doing a documentary, and the documentary was filmed by other people, like the people presenting it taking their phones and filming it, and then they mix it all together. So, you know, I think we are getting a little bit more creative, dare I say, with what we do.
Exactly. When the going gets tough, the creatives get going. You know, this is our history. You go right back to when theatre started in this country in the medieval period, when, you know, the whole reason why it really started was because everyone was forced to go to church by law. And remember, that was time of plague as well. And they didn't understand the church services because they couldn't speak Latin. So they started acting out the plays, and it started the industry in this country. You know, that came out of a plague and of a need to somehow get messages across to people, and the industry grew from it. So, you know, I think now we've got an opportunity to maybe as well involve people more in theatre, and more people from, you know, more inner city and working class backgrounds, and get those voices out there and heard loud and clear.
And, you know, there might be people, you know, listening or listening back to this show and going, do you know what, this sounds really, really good, and I really want to be supportive of it. You know, not just sixth form or second teachers who might be more specialists in creative, but also maybe primary or middle school, or those who haven't necessarily taught about drama or any creative subject, thinking, actually, you know, where can I go to help, or where can I direct our students to actually help them find out more about careers in the arts? You know, what advice would you have to those teachers or educators listening, going, actually, I want to support them, but I don't even know where I would start or how I would get them information about it?
Right. Well, they could talk to me, for example. I'd be more than happy to share that. Their local arts council as well have projects particularly through Artsmark and things like that. So they're really supportive. And I think if people ask, the industry will deliver. If people want industry professionals to come in and talk about different career pathways in the arts, people will do it. I'm more than happy. If someone contacts me and said, I really would like you to come into my primary or junior school and talk about the fact that this could be a proper job, this thing that you love doing. Because I know a lot of teachers work through Mantle of the Expert and create projects, even if they're not, what we would say as a drama teacher. And I think at that age, just doing some stuff and project-based learning helps people to, particularly those kids that just don't want to sit down all day. So absolutely. So there are plenty of places to go out there. You could, Drama UK is a good website to go on if you want to look at courses, etc. But it is just, there's loads of stuff out there. Maybe there used to be a really good book, but it's out of print. That was about careers in the arts. I've got a copy of it somewhere, but maybe that's something that we should, that needs writing again. How do we go down that pathway? Or at least a booklet. I think that would be a really useful thing.
Absolutely. And I think you sort of hit it nail on the head there. I think actually sometimes we just forget the basics of just asking. And actually, if you go to your local theatre or you find whatever it might be around you and you say to them, actually, what can you speak to us, or can you tell us about this? People are more than happy to help. At least that's the experience I've always had as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, talk about generous people and people who care with a passion about their industry, and certainly, really want to support young people in a realistic way. And that is the point. It's about the realistic nature of how you get into these industries, and keeping, and realizing that you can do it. And back to that, some of you will be actors. Some of you will work in the industry and have wonderful lives and careers. And I think that, the industry professionals are more than generous with their time. That's been my experience anyway.
And, you've talked there about some advice for teachers, and we've briefly touched on this already, but, what would your advice be to, students who want to pursue a career in the arts, but family or those around them, discourage that and think it won't earn them money, or they don't think it's a progressive job? I think, if I look where my school is, for example, in a city London school, and culturally, we look at the take up of drama, actually we know the demographic of kids that take it on are more, potentially white or Black Caribbean, but actually there's certain groups of people that don't take drama because culturally their family think it won't be an option for them, or it isn't a successful option for them. And I know I've had that when I've had young people come to me saying, I really want to pick drama, I really want to take it, but my parents won't let me, and they say that I've got no choice, so I've got to do X, Y, and Z. I've got to do maths, history, double maths, etc., etc. What would your advice be there?
It's a tricky one, this.
Yeah.
And a lot of work to be done. And I think as an industry and as teaching professionals, I think there's a lot of work to be done here. Because what we need, again, is to show everybody. We could do with a parents' evening to get people in. I know they do options evenings and things like that. But everybody needs to see Dan Gilbert's video, TED talk, when he talks about how to find your happiness, because you're going to be more successful if you're happy anyway. And he does talk about, an accountant whose career went horribly wrong, and other things which can happen, whichever pathway you're going to go down. So yeah, I understand that, and there's so much more I want to do with that. I get, I love it when if you came into my room, it is pretty multicultural. It's pretty great, and it makes it more exciting, because what people can do is explore their own cultural identity and share it with other people, which is absolutely fantastic, and it makes the room so much more vibrant. But yeah, we know that's a challenge. I don't think the answers are all there yet. I think we've all got to do an awful lot more to encourage all people from all backgrounds, ethnicities, etc., to have a go and to think about it. And we're not going to win them all. We definitely aren't going to win them all, but we maybe, I think people aren't unreasonable. They're just scared. It's their child. They love them, and they are frightened to death that they won't be successful in life. And we need to do much, much more to show them that there are more careers, because there's the top 5, and there are other ways of getting success in the world.
Absolutely. I mean, I now feel very, very inspired. I'm sitting there going, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go and do this. Let's go and change the world. So thank you so much for that. I mean, you've talked amazingly and said so many insightful and wonderful things. So thank you for your time. But obviously, where can people reach out to you if they want to find out more?
Well, I'm on Twitter at Shaz Drama. So if you follow me on Twitter, and then, if you want to then message me, I'm more than happy as well if anybody wants me to Zoom into their classroom if they're the other side of the country and talk a little bit about, because I'm coming from that working class kid background, so I get it. And I think that's really useful. I think you're going to find that with Jen as well when she comes on. She's very similar, working class kids who are actually working in the industry or doing things in it. And so, and I have got other people that I can call on to help with those things as well. Should you need more advice, I've got a whole team of people who have been former students of mine from all sorts of different backgrounds. And I know that we can help with that. So if anybody wants that, it's there.
Thank you so much. And I think that's just a really great way to end it. Just highlights that key message of actually, when it comes to talking about careers in the creative industry or any form of careers or anything really in teaching, it's just reach out and ask, because there is always somebody out there. And I think that's the nature of us as educators, particularly I think as creative educators. We're very open and supportive, and not this kind of, oh, it's my work, it's secret, only I can have this, X, Y, and Z. Actually, we want to share what we can do, because at the heart of it is the students, and up and down in schools across the globe, it's all similar, and that's what we're there for, is to support them and get them to the next step. So thank you so much for your time this morning.
You're very welcome. It's been an absolute pleasure.
And what's next? What's the rest of your day looking like? Where are you now? What are you going to do now?
I'm going to put my clothes on and go to. Okay, I've got pajamas on. I'm going to then go into work for what is like a week of Inset, which is all about as well, thinking differently and about autonomy and stuff. We're doing a lot about that, about not being too rigid in the way we ask teachers to tick certain boxes. So that's going to be quite exciting. We've got a really great leader of our MAT, a guy called Uni Lyons, who he's also was originally an inner city London boy, and he's got some really exciting ideas about how we move the MAT forward and empower teachers and managers to have autonomy within the rules.
Amazing. Sounds fantastic. Well, enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy your week. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Amazing. How good was Sharon? That was so good. Thank you so much. Feel very, very inspired. Very, very ready. And sounds like she's got an absolutely fantastic rest of the week coming her way. What about you, though? How did you find that? What are your thoughts now? Let us know via the Podbean app, on the chat function, on Twitter, or indeed you might even want to call in later. Why not? Very, very soon, I'm going to bring Jenna live to the studio. Jenna works for the National Theatre as the Touring Partnership Manager, alongside so many other bits and bobs too. And don't forget, there is loads of other shows coming up today on Teachers Talk Radio. So you can keep yourself busy pretty much all day listening to all the other wonderful things we've got coming up. I'm just going to have a look at what else we've got coming up today before we get ready to bring Jenna live into the studio. And very interestingly as well, you can obviously remember that we are always live on other shows as well, via Twitter. You can catch us via Facebook, all of those things. You just need to search at TT Radio and you will find us, no doubt. Very exciting though, for the rest of today. So you have some more shows coming up. I'm just scrolling because I can't do two things at the same time. There we go. So just to remind you, you've got the Twilight Show today at 6 to 7:30 with the wonderful Scott. And you've also got I've just scrolled up, the Late Show at 8 to 9:30 with Emily as well.
Creative Resources, made for teachers by teachers. At Creative Resources, we've been rethinking what a classroom can be. We've created a huge range of more than 2,500 original and exciting resources that span across more than 15 different subject areas. Whether you're looking for primary or secondary level resources, careers options, PSHE, arts or humanities, Creative Resources have the resources for you. We offer full curriculum packages and unique, challenging escape rooms themed on topics such as Shakespeare, Tudors, and fractions. We have quizzes, task cards, Tarsier puzzles, and lots more. Better still, more than 100 resources can be accessed for free. Just visit our website, www.cre8tiveresources.com. You can get 10% off any order you make on our website by using the discount code TT Radio. Creative Resources, made for teachers by teachers. Every teacher loves stationery, right? Imagine getting a selection of fun, beautiful and unique stationery items designed and selected especially for teachers, delivered through your door every month. You need to check out teacherslovestationery.club.
I'm always so excited when the box arrives. It's such a treat.
My Teachers Love Stationery Club box is just a little treat to myself every month.
It's always full of delightful and surprising items, including some really good quality stationery brands like Faber-Castell and Stabilo.
And because you never know what you're going to get, it makes it even more fun and special when you get it.
It feels really great to be supporting a family business that's run by real teachers. I can't help feeling like they just know what I'm going to enjoy using stationery-wise better than I do myself.
Visit teacherslovestationery.club and enter the code TT Radio when you buy your first stationery box to save £2 today. teacherslovestationery.club. Introducing the Leadership Masterclass series by Diana Osagi. Learn how to ditch your fears and develop your leadership confidence. How to deal with difficult colleagues. How to thrive when you lead in a challenging environment. And how to get colleagues to buy into your vision. Join Diana for her online leadership masterclasses starting on the 10th of July and running all the way through the summer. These sessions are the perfect way to prepare and refresh for the next academic year and beyond. Book your place at courageousleadership.co.uk/events now. The first 50 leaders to sign up get an additional free mini coaching session with Diana herself. Don't miss this. Courageous Leadership Masterclasses at courageousleadership.co.uk/events.
Good morning. If you've just tuned in, welcome to your Monday morning breakfast show with me, James Clark, not Mal, which is normally, just in case anyone's tuned in thinking, this is not the usual voice for Monday. We've had a little bit of a swap for a couple of weeks, so I'm very excited to be here on the Mondays. And today we're talking all about creative careers in the creative industry. Still haven't got that right. And I'm very excited that I'm going to be bringing Jenna live into the studio, the virtual studio, who is a touring partnership manager for the National Theatre. Good morning, Jenna.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I am in a very, very rainy Manchester.
Oh no. Does it ever not rain in Manchester?
Nope, this is it. This is it all the time.
Whenever I've gone to Manchester, it literally seems to always rain. Some of my wettest moments are in Manchester.